is strong.
Okay.
I'd love to see it for sure. But they've had some good wins. They've had some very good wins. Nick
Very good.
They trampled Arizona. Arizona's beyond frisky. They're beyond. Ask the Bills about Arizona. They gave the Bills all they wanted, and Arizona wasn't even as good yet.
That's not a very good win.
I'll take it. All right? Because they beat them by 21.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Decent.
They beat them by 21.
Yeah.
The Bills struggled with Arizona at home. They beat Houston.
On a last-second field goal, and Houston is shaky.
Houston shaky.
How many times but Houston's good. They're a legit playoff team.
Yes.
Division winner.
They're not
that top tier of teams, but they're.
That's the Packers' only.
Well, that's Miami.
Very good win.
Hold on. Miami, when Miami was like, oh, y'all think we can't play in the cold?
But they can't.
You
and
think
they don't.
You think we about to go show you?
Yeah,
so Miami went in there with all they had.
He doesn't believe.
They went in there with all they had, and the Packers put the smack
we
down.
spent $10,000 on breakdancing guys.
But Miami didn't know that. Miami was like, if somebody tells you can't do something, and they keep saying it, you bringing your best. You may not be successful, but you're bringing your best. Miami brought its best.
This is cope.
No. I'm
and now
serious.
you're going to bring up the Rams when they were all
the Rams were banged up, so I didn't even mention that. So give me props for that. But if they beat Detroit,
that's a great win. Yes.
If they beat Detroit, Hubs, if they beat Detroit, I want some green Jordans for tomorrow. If they beat Detroit, I'm really going to be feeling good.
Yes.
I'm kicking up the feet in Detroit.
As you should.
Go in their house and make a sandwich. Green Jordans. Call now, Dubs. Because I'll take them even if they lose. I'll just wear them myself.
You're still.
Yeah, because, look. I talked yesterday about how Jordan Love gets going in the second half of seasons. That's just a fact, right? He's got 4 touchdowns, no picks, was throwing picks left and right early in the season. No picks his last 2 games. Nick, this is what's going to shock you. But if you think about it, I'm not so sure you won't agree. I think Jordan Love's the best quarterback in the NFC. Not playing like it right now, but I'll take Jordan Love in the NFC over the guys that are going to be in the playoffs.
I wouldn't take him over Stafford.
I wouldn't take him. He's not going to be the best quarterback on the field tonight.
I agree. He's not having the best season, but neither is Mahomes. And I know he's not Mahomes.
Then you want to
have the track record of Mahomes. But Jordan Love, I think, has more talent than Jared Goff, and I would take Jordan Love. I like Goff. Don't get me wrong. They're both tier 2, but I think
by the
Nick
way,
agrees with me.
Remind me, Hubs.
Tier 2's big.
It's a big tier.
But
tier 2 is getting a really.
Everyone who's not
J-Lo's not tier 2.
No, he definitely is. But you just have a lot of quarterbacks who don't like to bump up against each other in the same tier. I think as a way to keep Brock Purdy there, but we can just like I said.
Tier 2 quarterbacks need help.
When you think about it, it sounds shocking.
I don't want to debate that right now because I agree with you. Jordan Love is to me firmly a tier 2 quarterback. I agree with that.
Is he better than Jared Goff?
So I think that is. I agree with Brew that he's more talented. I don't yet know, but there's a lot of guys who are more talented who aren't better.
Not a talent contest.
Agreed. But Love is still early enough in his career that talent takes a larger weight.
He looks like he could really be special.
Absolutely. And so we're kind of bouncing around for a bit. No, don't apologize at all. But I got in a big argument this morning with Danny about Justin Herbert.
Great pick from Danny.
Okay.
Ooh, he is hot.
He is hot, but that doesn't. So the point is, nobody denies Justin Herbert's talent. But when you're 5 years and 80-some starts into your career, you'd like to see more results. Jordan is early enough into his career from a starts perspective that talent still weighs heavier than. So I understand that piece of it. Here's the thing. Because I think the Packers can win tonight. We'll pick the game later. I certainly like them plus the points. It was 3.5 earlier. It's 3 now. However, by Brew's standard metric, if they lose tonight, you cannot take them seriously as a contender.
If they lose to Detroit at home?
Yes, because Brew, here's the thing. Let's show their schedule. And Brew laid out for you the fact that they have, all these great wins.
But they
don't.
trampled theirs. They trampled.
Okay.
It wasn't a close game.
I'm happy that they blew out the Cardinals, who are going to miss the playoffs. And then you see, okay, of the teams right now who are in the playoffs, where do the Packers rank amongst, so what do all those teams have in common? None of us think there's a contender amongst them except for maybe Green Bay. Those are worst record of current playoff teams against current playoff teams. So, Brew, by a metric you invented, I have to get something. And it's not tiny hands.
I bet I know what it is.
If the Packers lose tonight, then all they can do is beat up on tomato cans.
Is it?
Okay. This is so absurd. And it's takes like this which is why I always bring up teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Mahomes and stuff like that, because it's just inconsistent takes. He's calling out the Packers, for needing a last-minute field goal. What have the Chiefs been doing all season? A last-minute blocked field goal, a last-minute field goal to win the game, a last-minute field goal to win the game, a last-minute field goal to win the game. Like, what are we talking about? My hands are tied to bring up the Chiefs and Mahomes in this moment when these are the takes that Nick is coming out with. And now losing this game against the Lions would automatically say that they can only beat tomato cans? I just disagree with that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Listen, I think they need a win. This is now going to be like my 5th Green Bay Packers video in the last couple of days. And what's also really frustrating, honestly, is now that the Green Bay Packers are playing in a standalone game, now there's videos, now there's actual content about them. Where has this content been, all year, honestly? I mean, my God. Like, so now there's just endless Green Bay Packers videos, but it's so frustrating because it's just, this game is tonight, and then, like, these videos will just kind of, like, vanish. And, like, I just need to air that out. It drives me crazy, honestly. And that's the problem, because we're not actually having real conversations about the Green Bay Packers, because we're now forced to just look at the Packers through this narrow lens. What happens versus the Lions? And it's like, well, what about all the other stuff? And now you're asking us, since we haven't been talking about the Green Bay Packers week to week to week. I mean, I make videos at least a couple of Packers videos every single week. But now in real time, in this moment, we have to quickly glance at their schedule and say, where are the signature wins? What type of wins have they had? And it's like, you got to quickly rack your brain and be like, oh yeah, how did those games unfold? What happened? And then it now paints the picture that the Packers haven't really been that good, or they've skirted on by with some wins. And when you paint that picture, it paints it like other teams haven't done that. Like the Bills haven't had some really bad losses. Like the Chiefs, again, if we're using the same grading criteria, then please tell me, where is the impressive win for the Chiefs? And do not tell me the Ravens, it was week 1, which Nick was already kind of saying, who cares? That's why he was saying, the Bills versus the Cardinals, Also, Nick doesn't think that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are good. So that can't be a signature win, because he says that Lamar Jackson can't play good against, in meaningful games. So it's not an impressive win. The Falcons, Nick doesn't think is good. They're a bad team. He considers them a tomato can, as he showed, essentially in this last, chart here. See, worst record versus current playoff teams. Beating the Broncos, Nick obviously doesn't think the Broncos are that good. Again, using this as a reference point. So if we want to play this whole game of, who have the Packers won, then do it for all the other teams. Do it for all the other teams out there. I am all for looking at the schedule and looking at who have these teams beaten. I am all for that. I do that all the time, to a lot of people's hate. But I do it for every single team, not just the teams that I like and not the teams that I don't. I don't pick and choose here. So that's what I'm trying to point out more than anything. That again, we have to be consistent. We have to be fair. Also, we know this. Not all playoff teams are the same. We know that. So even just saying like, what's your record versus playoff teams? It's like, well, what playoff teams? Right? Is it the Falcons? Was it the Broncos like week 1 and 2 before they had anything going and they literally had their rookie quarterback? Same thing with the Commanders. Like, when did you actually play this team? What was the health level? All of these things matter in the context, which is why I always am like, well, wait a second. What are we just going to like look at this, schedule real fast and try to like quickly, reach conclusions? It's like, okay. Like, I don't know what that week 1 loss versus the Eagles means anymore. Same thing versus the Vikings when Jordan Love was banged up and came back too early. So, I don't know. Honestly. If they get rolled by the Lions, yes, that would be concerning. That's the difference. That was the difference with the Dallas Cowboys. Where the Dallas Cowboys would essentially dominate tomato cans. Then they would play a good team, and then they would get beat like good. And it was obvious. It was obvious. Even if it was a closer game, it was obvious that the Cowboys weren't good enough. It was obvious. Whether it be versus the 49ers, whether it be versus the Lions, heck, the Dolphins. It was obvious. This team doesn't really have it together. So yeah, if they play the Lions, that's why it doesn't get reduced down to just wins and losses. If they play the Lions well, and the Lions come away with a win, yeah, it would be a little concerning. And my mindset of who the Packers are would move down a little bit. But it wouldn't go to this extreme of, well, they only beat tomato cans. Again, it all depends on how they play and how they lose. I would rather see them play great and lose than play bad and win. I do. Again, I know there's actual legitimate, playoff stakes here, so you need the win. But I'm just saying in terms of my evaluation of who the Green Bay Packers are. Because that's what this is about. This isn't about, like, playoff potential. This is like, who are the Packers? That's really what this question is asking. Who are the Packers? Are they good or are they not? That's what they're trying to get to the source of. And I think, and I've said this, now in a few videos leading up to this game, having the Packers beat the Lions when the Lions are not 100% is what great teams do. It's, hey, we're already a great team. When both teams are 100% going head to head, it's going to be a close one. But if you're even slightly hobbled, if you have any slight disadvantage, we are a good enough team where, okay, we got it now. We're going to pounce on this. That is what I want to see the Packers be able to do. And if they can't, again, then you reassess the situation. Then you have to dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, well, what happened here? Where did things go wrong? Is this actually a fundamental problem to the Packers? To this team, to the way how it's being constructed, coached, the players? Or is it just one of those things where it's like, oh man, so-and-so just was a beast last night. You couldn't stop it. Nobody could stop it. Right? Like, it's going to be interesting. Everyone trying to figure out what the conclusion is before the game even starts. And that's why I always try to outline what the potential scenarios are and what each scenario would mean. But then it's just kind of be like, well, let's just wait. But it always gets reduced down to the win, the win or the loss. And it's not an accurate way to look at things, honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers? Do you think they need a signature win? And do you think if they lose, it means that they only beat up tomato cans? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.